individual achievement in theatre history preservation is one of the all-time greats of our naughty profession. The nightingale of nightclubs, one of the truly, in my opinion, one of the only great broads of Broadway. Ladies and gentlemen, Barbara Cook.
Theatre history preservation. Boy, is this a perfect award for the perfect person. Rick McKay, of course, is going to get this award. And I want to tell you just a little bit about it. I've known Rick McKay for a very long time, and I know how resourceful and courageous he is. You know, he started out from being I guess I could say a struggling cabaret singer, and his partner at the time, Wally Harper, and my accompanist for many years, knew that he took headshots with a regular camera to sort of make a little extra money. And then when Wally was hired to work on The Birdcages, the film that Mike Nichols did, Mike said that he needed to know more about gay clubs because he'd never been to these drag clubs, and he's going to do this film, so he needed to know about them. And he said, who do you know who might go around the world and find the best clubs and photograph, do videotape of these clubs? And Wally said, well, of course, my friend Rick McKay could do that. Well, Rick had never even picked up a video camera in his life. He borrowed a camera, and on the way over to England on the plane, he figured out how to work it. And he went to these drag clubs, and he said from the very beginning, when he started doing this, he knew that he could do it. He knew he was really good at it. And he also, instead of just photographing the shows, he also photographed all the backstage stuff that was going on. And Mike Nichols was thrilled when he saw the footage. I mean, it's a pretty amazing thing, isn't it? And through the entire filming of this movie, all the cast, Robin Williams, everybody used this film to refer to this footage that Rick had done. They said it was invaluable to them. And then he was going to do. He was going to photograph a mural that was being done of celebrated Broadway performers during the Golden Age. And he thought, well, you know, maybe this will make a film, but nobody seemed to be interested in his filming of this mural that was being painted. And then somebody suggested that he might get interested in the actual people and the time and Tallulah Bankhead and all of those things. And that's when he began, just in his little apartment, really tiny place, he began filming interviews there. And of course, you know what's happened now. We see it, well, it's won so many awards all over the country. And we see it again and again and again on PBS. And he's working on 2 others, or has finished 2 others, and is also working on a film about Wray. So I wanted to tell you that because when you see the excellence of what he does and how it started, I think it's just an amazing, amazing accomplishment. So I am particularly happy to give this award to Rick McKay for theater history preservation. Rick, come on up. And that is, with all of this excellence in what he does and all of that, the main thing about him is that he is a really, really wonderful human being. Wonderful human being. Boy, if you're ever in any kind of trouble, he's the first person there. So good God. I love you.
I love you more. Talk about friends. 25 years ago, on New Year's Day, I was in my neighborhood, Upper West Side, and I was walking down Broadway, and I walked past Sabar's, New Year's Day, about 6 p.m. There, looking at the pots and pans and the kitchen goods, was Barbara Cook.
I'm in the middle of the afternoon, and I stopped and said, Miss Cook, I saw you. Whoops. I saw you at Lehman Center in the Bronx last week. She said, you went all the way to the Bronx? You're crazy? I sing in Manhattan, too. I said, I couldn't miss it. I went all the way there, and I said, we got to talking for about 15 minutes, and I was looking for a piano player. And I said, I'm looking for one to work with. And she misunderstood and thought that I was looking for a singing teacher. So she said, oh, you got to study with Joan Kobin. She's the best in the business. Her husband taught me how to sing, Bob Kobin. And that day led to a 25-year friendship. And the teacher that I studied with all my life, who taught all the great singers in New York, Joan Kobin, who's sitting right here today. Brought so much into my life. You know, she always says that there are just road signs that we see along the way, but if that's true, then Barbara's been a traffic director in my life. Because she introduced me to Joan, who became my great champion as a singer for years. And that led to my relationship with Wally, who became a mentor and one of the most important people in my life, Wally Harper. And then a few years ago, she introduced me to a woman, you know, making the Broadway series. These movies have over 100 stars in each of them. And they're a lot of work, and they take years to make. And making the first one, 6 years, I packed on over 100 pounds of weight, sitting and editing. And Barbara introduced me to a woman, and I lost all that weight in 9 months. And her name is Cukiernik, and she's here tonight too. So Barbara just keeps introducing me to the right people. And I feel very lucky because I can't. People think I make these movies alone because I write them, I shoot them, I light them, I edit them. I do all of those things, but I couldn't do them without producers. And the first person that came on board to help me with the film was deRoy when we were producing together at PBS. And she's here tonight. She was the first one that believed in our ideas. When it was going to be about that mural, and she said, what do you need to finish it? I said, I need $3,000. And she came up with the first 3,000. Of course, it became about $500,000 by the time we finished the whole feature film. And also, a woman called me as I got about halfway through the film and said to me, I'm from the Museum of Television and Radio. I hear what you're doing is incredible. I want to help you. And I said, I can't afford to hire anyone. And she said, I don't want money. I want to help you. And I said, well, perhaps if the film's a success, I could, make a donation to the museum. She said, don't you dare. Put it into your movies. That's what's important. And she started helping me that day and went on to find, for those of you who've seen the film, she found that lost Lorette Taylor footage. No one had ever seen Lorette Taylor before. She found the footage of Jim Stanley from Bus Stop and Elaine Stritch. She found these things that were thought to be lost forever, and many more. Robert Whle auditioning for Camelot. All that's because of a woman that's here tonight too, named Jane Klain. But I feel very, very happy to be here. I've gotten a lot of awards, but this one means especially more than any because it is the Theater Museum. And I grew up dreaming of coming to this city and working in the theater and preserving the theater. And I realize it's so precious. What happens on stage is gone like that. And I feel like if I had a reason to be here, it's to save things that would be gone. And I often think that my job is, I'm the mailman who's in between. It's just that the mail I deliver is the lost letters department. Sometimes they're lost for 50 years, and I'll find something that should be seen and should be preserved. In the next film, we found footage, Jane and I, of Barbara singing a song over 50 years ago on television. And you'll see it in the next film too. But you'll have to wait for that. That's Broadway Beyond the Golden Age, and it'll be out next year. So thank you everyone for inviting me tonight. Thank you for having me. And thank you for keeping the theater alive. Congratulations, Rick. Thank you very much.